And still with Iran, where the country's foreign ministry announced that the prisoner exchange deal between Tehran and Washington will be implemented today, being Monday. The ministry confirmed what was already reported when the deal was finalized last month, that it will include the release of 5 Iranian prisoners held in the United States in exchange for the release of 5 Americans from Iran. Iranian officials said that the deal would be implemented once the some $6 billion of Iranian assets held in South Korea arrived in Qatar. This key element of the deal was reached according to the authorities in Tehran. Well, let's cross now live to Tel Aviv, where I'm joined by Dr. Meir Javedanfar, an Iran lecturer at Reichman University. Good afternoon to you, Meir. On the surface, it appears like a fair trade and diplomacy done right, but is that actually the case? What more do we know about the terms of the negotiations?
First of all, the word fair should not appear anywhere in this, because these people were innocent people. They're American citizens in Iran, the dual Iranian-American citizens. They were innocent people. They were picked up for no reason on trumped-up charges to be used as bargaining chips. Many of them have lost years of their life, 5 or 6 years of their life, even more, some of them less, for nothing, and they'll never get it back. So this is hostage diplomacy being used by the Islamic Republic of Iran, much like the same that North Korean and the Russian regime use. And they're using it as barter to get some of their own money back that's been frozen in South Korean banks because of the sanctions. So is it fair? It's absolutely not fair. But this is the way the Islamic Republic, this is a tried and tested method that the Islamic Republic has been using in order to pressure the West regarding many issues, one of them being getting its frozen money abroad back. And they've used it now successfully, and they will do it again successfully, because Batya, it's very difficult for foreign governments to turn to look away and ignore their own citizens languishing in Iran's jails. It's very difficult. It's something that we may have to do somehow with regard to Elizabeth Sukov. I don't know, but our citizens sitting in Iraq. And maybe we'll have to do, okay, we don't have any Iranian money to give them. Maybe we'll have to do a prisoner exchange. But this is something that the Islamic Republic has done and will continue to do so.
And as you mentioned, this is tried and tested exchange between the Iranians and the US. But looking at previous deals, both the Biden and the Obama administrations exchanged hostages for money. The Trump administration, however, said that the United States will not fund a terror regime, and they simply swapped 2 hostages for 2 prisoners. The question is there a difference on US policy toward Iran based on whether Democrats or Republicans are in power?
Well, that's an excellent question, Batya, and you bring up a very good point. Even though as somebody who, if I were in America, I would vote Democrat, but I would have to say in this regard, President Trump was more successful. President Trump had this image, he created this image of himself that he was a tough negotiator, that they would be very difficult to get past them. And whether like him or hate him or dislike him, President Trump was much more successful in this. And his swap deal with the Iranians was much more successful. Maybe should other governments follow this? Yes, they should. But it seems President Biden had other priorities. And maybe he found that that playing tough with Iran would not get him what he wanted. So he decided to pay them their own money. This is not paying America's money. This is paying Iran's money. But yes, in this regard, as a critic of President Trump, I would have to put my hands up and say his method was far better. He was far more successful. And ideally, everybody should follow his lead in this regard.
With that being said, will the Iranian regime be watching the outcome of the upcoming 2024 elections, possibly as closely as other nations in the region, for example, Israel?
Absolutely, absolutely. You can bet your last shekels on that. This is a very, very important, presidential election for the Iranians. But it's not an easy choice, to be honest with you. On the one hand, they would want the Democrats to be re-elected because they believe that it would be perhaps easier to push President Biden around because he doesn't have as much of a muscular approach towards Iran as President Trump did. But on the other hand, they may want President Trump to come back in because that may justify Iran's position that you can never reach a deal with the Americans. Because look, the person who walked out of the nuclear deal, instead of being punished, is being re-elected by the people of Iran. So this justifies Iranian conservatives would say our view that you cannot trust the Americans, that they not only they don't stand by their promises, they also back politicians who walk out of nuclear deals unilaterally.
As in most diplomacy, it seems that they are stuck between a rock and a hard place. Dr. Meir Javedanfar, an Iran lecturer at the Reichman University, thank you so very much for your time as well as your analysis.
Thank you.